Hi, it's Lori. Thanks for joining me for another Cricut tutorial. Today we're going to use our Cricut Explorers and some of the new features in Design Space to make this fun Christmas card. We're going to be using the print and cut feature, we're going to be using the new pattern fill feature, and we're also going to be using some simple die cuts. I hope you'll follow along, and I would love to see your creations in the Facebook groups. Let's get started. So here we are in Design Space. The first thing we need to do is gather our images. So let's go into Insert Images. And the first thing that we need is a scallop square. So I'm just going to go over to the search bar and type in Scallop Square. And I use this one right here. It's called Butterfly Label. It's part of the Elegant Edges cartridge. So we're going to grab that. The other thing that we need is a scallop circle. So we're going to type scallop circle, and you can substitute any of the shapes that work for you or what you have in your cartridge library. And we just need to choose a scallop circle, and I think I'm just going to choose this one. It's part of the subscription, and this one is called Edge Label, and that's also from Elegant Edges. We're going to use that one. And then I was not sure what I was going to use, so I just typed in Christmas. And then I knew I wanted a printable image, so I went over here to the filters and I clicked on something that was included in the subscription. And then I also clicked on printables. So remember those filters are there because you're going to find a lot of neat images that you might overlook otherwise. And here is this cute snowman that I use. So we're going to grab him. And he is part of Santa's Village. And he is also part of the subscription. And the other thing that I wanted was a Merry Christmas. So I just typed in Merry Christmas. I'm letting Design Space do all the hard work for me. And I still have my filters on, so I need to turn that off. I'm going to take the printables off. And this is the Merry Christmas that I used right here. It's also part of the subscription. It's from the Teresa Collins December 25th cartridge. We're going to click on that. I need a label. So I'm going to just type in label. I use this label right here. This is from the first few years. It's part of the subscription. I'm going to click on that. And then the last thing that we need is some holly. And there's lots of different holly, and I use this one, part of the subscription from the Teresa Collins December 25th cartridge. We're going to grab that. And we're going to insert images. All right, we're going to deal with these one at a time. The first thing we're going to deal with is the scallop square. So we're going to move the rest of this over to the side. Now when we look over in the layers panel, we see this scallop square is actually comprised of 3 different layers. I'm going to turn on the shadow layer that is hidden. And we see we have the brown layer, the middle layer, and then the black layer. I'm actually going to use this black layer. So in order to separate those so that I can get rid of what I don't need, you can either right click and ungroup, or you can go over here to the bottom of the layers panel and click ungroup. I'm a right click kind of gal, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so now I can pull away this, hit the red X, and delete it. Pull away this, hit the red X, delete it. And now I'm left with the black one. Now I want my card to be a 5-inch square card. So I'm going to go over here to make sure the black scallop is selected. I'm going to go over to the edit panel, and actually we can peel this edit panel down here so that we can see both the edit and the layers panel at the same time. I'm going to unlock Keep Proportions, and you'll notice the scallop is slightly off from being square, 0.02 off to be exact. And I want it to be exactly 5 inches square. So I'm going to unlock Keep Proportions, and I'm going to change the width to 5.00 and the height to 5.00. And now I'm going to lock that back up. So now we have a perfectly 5-inch square scallop That's going to be the beginning of our card base. But before we make the card base, I want to duplicate this because we're going to need another scallop in a little bit. So while it's selected, I'm going to go over here to the Layers panel in the bottom and hit Duplicate. And I'm going to move that one over here. And then I'm going to select it again and hit Duplicate again. And I'm going to move this one up here. And now I'm going to draw a box around both of these. Go up to the Align window, click, and center horizontally. That makes sure those two are perfectly on top of each other. Now I'm going to click off over here in the white space, and then click back on the top one, and just using my down arrow, don't move it any other direction, just moving the down arrow, I'm going to move it down until they touch. And you'll see just these little triangles in between. Now I'm going to select both of those, make sure they're both selected, and then we're going to hit Weld. And this is our card base. Now this is one piece over here in the Layers panel, so I'm going to click on it and I'm going to turn this to a dark red. Alright. The next layer we need is the other scallop circle. And we're going to go over to the Edit panel, and remember this was 5 inches square. Well, I want to make it slightly smaller to fit on the inside. So I'm going to leave proportions locked because now it is perfectly square, and I'm going to change it to 4.5. That's going to make this square a 1/2 inch smaller than this square. I'm going to select it in the Layers panel, and I'm going to change this to brown. And this, well, it's actually behind that layer, so let's go to Arrange, move forward. All right, and now this will fit right here on our card. The card's going to fold. This will fold and become the back of the card. This is the front. So that's going to fit right there. The next layer we need is our scallop circle. When we click on this, we see this over here in the Layers panel, and again we see this is comprised of 3 different layers with the shadow layer being turned off. Let's turn on that shadow layer. Alright, and now we still see we have 3 pieces. So in order to ungroup it, we can either click here, ungroup, or right click, ungroup. And you can use any of these that you want. If you want the more fancy edge, you could use that. If you want the this one, use that, or the shadow layer. So I think I'm going to go with the middle one, or the middle one. Alright, and this is just an eyeball kind of game. What looks appealing to you? And I want it to cover a majority of it. So mine is showing maybe a little bit smaller. Mine's showing 1.7 inches by 6.17 inches. And there's no magic number here. Whatever looks good to you. Okay, now we're going to do something fun with this. We are going to go over to the Layers panel. We're going to click where the scissors are, and we're going to change this to Print. And then we're going to go to Patterns. And we have all these fun patterns we can fill this shape with. But I want a pattern that is green, so I'm going to go hit Filter and then Green. And I also want a pattern that is included in the subscription, so I'm going to click Filter, Filter, and Subscription. So now that's showing me the patterns that are included in the subscription, and I want to find some kind of dark green pattern. And I used this one right here, and it is from Vintage Damask. It's called Green Damask, but you can use any of them. I experimented with quite a few different ones, but I like this Green Damask, but you can certainly do whichever one you like. Okay, the next layer we need I made from a shape, so we're going to go Insert Shapes, and we're going to grab a square. We're going to take this square and we're going to unlock Keep Proportions, and we're just going to kind of drag it kind of narrow and long, and I want it to fit inside this brown scallop square. So I'm going to just kind of play with it And mine looks like it is, if we look over here in the edit panel, it's, well, we'll just make it 1 inch wide by 4 inches high, to be exact. Okay, so let's fill this up with a pattern too. So we're going to grab this over here in the layers panel, click where the scissors are, change that to print. We're going to go to patterns, and this time we want to click on the filters, and we want a red pattern. And we can get rid of the green. And so we have subscriptions, red. Let's see what patterns we have. And you can fill this with whatever pattern you want. I went pretty simple, and I believe I chose this first one. And so when I chose that, it looks kind of funny. It's kind of small and not really in proportion to what I would like it to be. So while it's selected, I'm going to click Edit Patterns. And with this, you can change the scale of the pattern. So we're going to bring that up a little bit. And it's totally a personal preference. I'm at 110%, and that looks okay to me. All right, so the next thing we have is our snowman. And he is perfect, but he is looking in the wrong direction, in my opinion. So we're going to go over to the edit panel while he's selected, and we're going to click mirror horizontal or flip horizontal. That's this button right here. And look, voila, he's turned the other direction. That's where I want him. And he is behind my card, so I want to bring him to the front, and you can either hit arrange, move to front, or like I told you, I'm a right click kind of girl. Right click, move to front. Now he's in the front here. And we just want to kind of make him a little bit bigger. No perfect number here. All right. The next thing we have is our label. The layers panel is that the first thing we see over in the layers panel is that this label consists of 2 separate layers, the shadow layer and the main layer. Before we ungroup these so that we can work with them separately, we want to make sure we get them sized the way we want them. So I'm going to bring it over here, and this is going to set kind of like this. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to make my snowman a little bit bigger. And he's going to set kind of like this. So you can make this whatever appeals to you. I just thought it'd be cute to put a fishtail banner in the bottom of this too. I didn't do that, but that's another idea. All right, so let's take our label back over here where we can work with it, and we want to ungroup it. So we can click over here and ungroup, or right click, ungroup. And now we have our label. We're going to click on this Christmas, Merry Christmas. It consists of 2 layers, but we're going to leave them just like they are, and we want to fit that on top of this label. Right click, move to front, and it's on top of the label. And again, this is a personal preference. We can select these 2. We can go align, center. That puts it perfectly center. I kind of like it up here a little bit. It's a little disillusioning because of the way the Mary is to the left of the word. But you can do it however you like. So once we have it in place, we're going to select all of that and go over to the layers panel, and we're going to flatten this. And what that's going to do is make this label a print and cut with the word Merry Christmas with the red outline printed right on it. So that looks perfect. Now we don't want our label to be orange, so we're going to go over to the sync panel. And we see we have 2 different reds here. We have the red from the card base, we have the red from the berries right here, and really they can be the exact, I'm going to cut them out of the same cardstock, so I'm just going to pull that red down to that red. And now I'm going to pull that orange label down to the red label. So now that's going to be perfectly matched. All right, so we can put these 2 together, and we can group them back together so that we don't have to worry about moving it. right click, group, and that's going to set right here. Okay, the last thing that I did was take this holly, and all I did was resize it, and it's behind, so we need to right click, move to front, and I just kind of made it so I thought it would fit nicely right here. And that's all there is to this card. Super simple. So all that's left to do is hit go. We have all our print and cuts which have fit on one sheet. I'm going to use the white Cricut cardstock. It comes in 12 by 12. I cut it down to 8.5 by 11 so that it'll fit in my printer. I love to use this for my print and cuts. It's a textured cardstock and it prints, and you'll see if you look at my card again at the end of the video, you'll see the texture in the cardstock, and it really adds a lot of character in my opinion. The next layer we have is our green holly. I'm going to use Cricut cardstock for this, the dark green. I'm going to use Cricut cardstock for this brown scallop layer, as well as the red layer, the label, and the berries for the holly. So all that's left to do is send this to our printer. We're going to hit go. We're going to select our device from the drop-down menu. If you have more than one, this is the one I'm going to use, and I'm going to hit print page. This is going to send the print over to my printer. I'm using an HP inkjet printer. You want to make sure you check out your settings that come up. I am going to choose my HP inkjet printer and hit OK. This will bring up your printer dialog box. I suggest putting this on best, and I always choose brochure matte paper. If you have a cardstock setting, you want to choose that. That tells your printer that you're trying to pick up some heavyweight paper. And again, make sure your quality is on best, however yours is set up, and then hit print. You're going to take your print and cut image and load it in the upper left corner of your mat. Choose your settings, make sure your dial is on cardstock, and hit the blinking C button or the go button. The printer will look for the registration marks. It's going to go up and read the upper left first. Once it reads the upper left, it will go to the upper right. And this takes just a few minutes while the Cricut determines exactly where that mark is. Those registration marks are what tells the Cricut where the images are on the paper. And now it's going to read the upper right. Down to the lower left. And there'll be a slight pause, and then the Cricut will begin cutting the images on the print and cut image. Now we'll quickly run through the rest of the cardstock. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and you can visit me on my blog at lauriesstory.com. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.